Alrighty, so hey guys, so my name is Mike Tarallo. I'm a principal technical marketing manager with Qlik, and I'd like to welcome you to, I believe this is like episode 46 of the Do More with Qlik webinar series. And this time we're going to be covering Qlik's AI enhanced capabilities. And when I use the term AI enhanced, I want you to think of, for example, sophisticated algorithms and machine learning, classification, inference, all the type of programming knowledge that is under the covers that kind of looks at your data, creates relationships, automatically creates visualizations, etc., stuff like that. So when we talk about AI enhanced capabilities, there is a sophisticated set of algorithms. I'm just going to keep it at that, that does stuff, quote unquote, with your data. And you're going to see what that stuff is. So today, I'm going to present the AI enhanced features and capabilities that are powered by a label within the product known as Insight Advisor. Now, Insight Advisor has a number of different components to it, both in Qlik Cloud Analytics and in our client managed product, which is also known as Windows Enterprise. I plan to also show you business logic, so you can see how you can customize Insight Advisor to improve business context and return more relevant results, and even customize the interaction with the user. And Insight Advisor is going to help bring analytics to enable everyone to get answers that they need quickly and easily. And I'm going to go through a live demonstration and build out. You're going to see all that stuff. Just bear with me while we go through a couple of the house cleaning, housekeeping type slides and, kickoff type of presentation stuff. So today, Insight Advisor, you're going to see auto-generated visualizations, advanced insight generation, search-driven insights, a bit on conversational analytics, analysis types, our new natural language insights chart object, how to use smart sheets. And we have a couple things coming soon, key driver analysis and MS Teams integration as well. And our expression generator that helps you develop, for example, like set analysis expressions within calculations and formulas. And if time allows, I might cover a bit on our OpenAI integration. On the last Do More, and that's why good segue, if you missed it, I covered OpenAI integration. So this was presented within Qlik Cloud Analytics and Qlik Application Automation. And it showed how to provide the necessary tools to embed generative AI into your Qlik applications using our OpenAI connectors. And I also did a bit on, AI's influence in organizations in the market and things that you should be aware of and some of the terminologies and, things you should be prepared for. So it is in our archive. So if you've missed it, or any of the previous Do More sessions, you can always check them out in the Do More Qlik library. Includes 40 plus and counting previous sessions. This is available as a link sent to you via email, should be in the resources list that I sent you as well. And the most recent sessions are also available on YouTube in the channel playlist. And like I said, you'll get links and a follow-up emails that are sent as well. Okay, a couple of things here. I always like to kind of build my audience for the next session so you know what's going on. So on the next Do More with Qlik, I'm going to be presenting set analysis redux. And the reason why it's redux is because it's been 8 years since I first presented set analysis in one of my videos, which to date has received 250,000 views, which I'm very proud of. That is a popular subject. And it's a very important part of creating Qlik Analytics. Set analysis enables users to define complex criteria. We call them set expressions, and it basically isolates specific data points or dimensions in analytics. But now it's even easier to implement, and I'm going to go through the ways they can be implemented. Obviously, you can still write the expression if you know it, kind of like what I do because I've been so used to it, but you can do many different approaches using new expression generator or using custom bookmarks or existing selections directly in your Qlik applications now. So it's actually building that syntax for you. So join me on November 1st at 10 a.m. Eastern so we can go through set analysis and how it's made easier with some of the AI enhanced capabilities that we've added. Okay, so now we're going to begin the official part of the presentation, and there's a couple of notes that I want to bring up. So it's possible by now you've heard of something in the Qlik realm called Qlik Stage. Now, just to demystify that, simply put, it's a name we are using to describe a set of solutions for organizations to confidently embrace the power of AI. It describes a foundation to build on. That's pretty much it when you hear the word stage. And you can see STAI in the middle and then GE. And to build on this AI capability, we want them to leverage it, transform it so they can innovate. And the stage nomenclature is a bit of a play on words, much like actors bring characters to life on a stage. Today's innovators are looking to AI to bring ideas to life and incorporate to their business. So if you've heard of stage, it's a set of solutions for organizations to embrace the power of AI. And now we're going to actually move in and talk about what those solutions are. So the solutions under stage comprise of three pillars. There's a trusted data foundation that contributes to AI readiness. And if you understand some of our acquisitions, there's Talend, for example, there's Qlik cloud data integration that basically is going to create AI-ready data sets via connectivity and intelligent pipelines. Then there's also today what I'm going to talk about, the AI enhanced capabilities, bringing AI to BI. And then there's also the AI for advanced use cases, and that's utilizing tools such as our AutoML, a predictive machine learning product that's also built into Qlik Cloud Analytics. Okay, so today we're going to focus solely on AI enhanced solutions. So focusing on this particular pillar, this is going to show you the power capabilities of Insight Advisor and some other new capabilities that will also be made available soon, as I mentioned, such as key driver analysis and MS Teams chat integration. Okay, so we're going to cover all of this. I'm going to be very structured and very meticulous about the way I do my presentations and demos. I want to make sure that everything that I present is clear. So a couple things that you should be made aware of that are available in the resource links. There is a document that talks about best practices for asking questions within Insight Advisor. I'm not going to go through all this in detail, but it covers words and terms that can be used in natural language, some of the key words for working with aggregations or working with filters, etc. Okay, so just know you have that link available in your resources. There's also a class in our continuous classroom, so go to learning.qlik.com to learn more about that. Using insights to create visualizations, that's the course that is available there. Okay, and then of course, I always create short and quick videos and even longer videos that, maybe elaborate more on the topic. There's our shorts library, there's the Do More with Tips and Tricks edition library of playlist videos that basically can help inspire you or help you get started. Remember, these aren't structured educational learning type things, but these are quick videos that actually make you aware of something maybe you didn't know about, or give you a quick insight into how something is created, or even show you how something is done utilizing tips and tricks within the product. Okay, there's those resource links that I mentioned. They have been pasted. Somebody's saying that the last link is not working. I'm not sure what that, say what that link is, just let me know and I'll fix that before the end of the presentation. Okay, so let's talk about Insight Advisor features and capabilities. So basically, when you hear Insight Advisor, it's just your intelligent AI assistant. Okay, and that's available in Qlik Sense, which is part of the dashboards and visualization products of Qlik Cloud Analytics, and as well as client managed. It provides the ability to develop advanced insights automatically or make recommendations. It provides the ability to do search-driven insights through natural language search. You can use tools such as Ask Insight Advisor, which we call Insight Advisor Chat, which is used for conversational analytics. We basically provide a number of different ways for you to interact with these Insight Advisor capabilities to really just return answers to questions that you're looking for, so you can make intelligent business decisions. There's part of a product tile, I guess you could call it, or availability of additional predefined chart types we call analysis types that you're going to see me use today. And then we're introducing also looking at how to understand what's driving your metrics or the influence behind your metrics through the use of key drivers. And then I'm also going to show the business logic layer, how we're going to create more relevant business context and more relevant results by customizing the business logic layer. Okay. and as well as a little bit on the expression generator part of the formula editor within the product. Okay, so I'm not going to go through these slides verbatim. I put these slides in here because some people like to ask if they can get the slides, and then when I present it to them and I create a bundle for them, I send it over. So that's for your reference. But I just now got to break down a couple of things that are under the Insight Advisor umbrella, right? So we have Insight Advisor Chat, which is accessible from the mobile device or directly from the product. It's just a quick and easy way to get answers through a chat, basically using a chat bot. Okay, it interacts with the user, it remembers context, right? So if you asked, for example, for something this year, and then you ask another question, it's going to remember that you asked that it was for this year, and it continues that conversation, just like kind of like a normal conversation you would have with a human. That's the context awareness part. And you can search across all of the apps. I will show you how you can enable it. And another key benefit of this, it also provides over 10 different languages. So there's multi-language support for this as well. Okay, and it provides both visual and natural language generation of results. Then there's Insight Advisor Search, which is probably, my favorite. It basically allows you to point and click to get the answers you need, and basically auto-generates the charts and insights and generates natural language insights based off of what you ask or what you select from the list. And then it's customized and made more relevant for working with different users through the use of business logic, adds visualizations directly to the dashboard. So you could use this in addition to answering questions while you're performing analysis, or you can use it as a way to jumpstart creation of your analysis and dashboards, depending on if you have rights to do stuff like that. And of course, as I mentioned, it's, it works with our engine. So while you're actually performing your analysis, you could use our search, global smart search or selections, and it'll provide those context to the questions you're asking. And you're going to see all of this today. Full range of analysis types. So let's say you don't know where to start and you want a little guidance, and you want to be able to create insights or answers to questions based off of, for example, little information that you do know, such as I would like to perform a ranking. We have a guided approach with predefined analysis types that allow you to select measures, dimensions, and time periods and create the results for you, including smart sheets, which automatically create dashboards for certain use cases. I'm going to show you that as well. One final thing to also note, and then another benefit, is for our partner network and those who want to embed insight generation and AI enhanced capabilities into their own applications. There's a full set of what we call augmented analytics APIs. Okay, so a lot of what I'm showing you that is built into the product today can also be used to develop custom apps. So you have the ability to embed auto-generated analyses and those results in your own apps. Go to dev.qlik.com to learn more about that. If you have any other questions, send them over to me in the chat and I can get that information for you. Okay, and then finally, we talk about business logic. Okay, business logic is a way to basically improve the relevance and business context. And when you see me go through the demonstration, right, if you started using this and maybe you were getting erroneous results, or you were getting results that maybe sort of made sense but didn't, chances are the initial inference of the initial default logical model has not been modified to your liking or to your needs. And that's where business logic comes in. There's ways of classifying data, changing aggregations, changing level of importance, grouping different dimensions and measures together so the results come back in the structure that you want them to come back. You're going to see all of that through the use of customizing business logic. And then you can also refine the language, utilize synonyms, create custom analysis, even provide expressions that are samples for the user to click on. Okay, so you're going to see all that today. So real quick, things you should know. Understand that your data needs to support what is asked, right? You can't just go in and say, hey, give me my repeat customer rate. And if you don't have a metric for repeat customer rate, it's not going to know that, right? It's utilizing the field names within the data model or your master items or calculations to produce those measures. Okay, so it's not like it's just going to load it and automatically calculate that for you. It has to be, told what to do in the fact, meaning you may need to develop new measures and dimensions to support your questions and results. Okay, and remember, there's a default conceptual model is generated when Insight Advisor is started or when you load that data. Okay, then you go to business logic. Again, you need rights to do this or permissions to do this, but then you need to go in and you can make those changes, right? So using business logic to customize your insight generation, improving context and relevance. Calendar periods, right? Do you have dates in there so you can do period change analysis, look at year over year, or look at different comparisons this year versus last year, this month versus last month? If you don't have calendar periods in there, it's not going to be able to do things like how are my sales for this year compared to last year. Okay, so you need to make sure your calendar periods are set up, groupings and behaviors and visibility, all these little settings and switches that are in business logic are going to help to improve relevance and context. So please keep that in mind. Okay, so here's the demo flow. So this is what you're going to see, both Insight Advisor in action and under the covers. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a finished sales and order use case example. Use Ask Insight Advisor, show you where it is, basically the conversational analytics piece. I will show you real quickly the MS Teams integration, because basically what I show you in Insight Advisor chat is the same in MS Teams integration, except you have the added value of collaborating with your peers. Right? So where Insight Advisor chat allows me as an individual to use my mobile device or ask questions through the web-based interface, Teams is going to allow me to do it through Teams integration, which if everybody has Microsoft Teams installed and use and has the app, they could actually collaborate together and ask questions or be aware of the insights that are coming back. So that's the benefit of Teams. Then we're going to look at Insight Advisor search and explore through natural language, analysis types, and smart sheets. The natural language chart object, expression generator, and then key drivers. And then I'm going to actually build out an example and show you how it all comes together. And that's going to be also so you can see, how the sausage is made, so to speak, and get the correlation between what I showed you and then what's happening under the covers to see how it relates to each other. Okay, you get some of those aha moments. Okay, so let's go into the demo. Hopefully none of my sessions expired. But if they did, we'll just have to refresh. Okay. Now, on one of my screens that you don't see, I have a demo flow that I'm going to follow. So it's going to keep me honest throughout this presentation. So the first thing I want to mention is when you go into the Qlik hub, there's a button here called Ask Insight Advisor. You click that Ask Insight Advisor, and that brings you into Insight Advisor chat. Now, when you're brought in, I have some questions that are example questions that I predefined in business logic. And here I can just say, how many orders by order status. So I can immediately click that. The question comes in and it goes out. It's going to look at the question. And if it understands the context, it's going to automatically surface the app, as you can see here, which a link to it. It's called RGB Sales, Azure Talent Stitch. And it provides me with the answer in the form of a chart. It's showing me closed orders, open orders, and canceled orders, and the number of those orders. Okay, so I immediately got the count of total orders is over 1,000, and here are the orders that are closed. Here are the orders that are open, and 33 orders canceled. Okay, if I wanted to elaborate on this, I could say how many orders by order status this year. So now I added a time period to this. So now it's going to look at that, and it's going to show me the same number of orders, in this case, same metric, total number of orders, but now it's 257 and it applies the date range for order date. Now, how does it know this? Well, it knows that total orders is part of my metrics that have been defined. Some of them might be automatically inferred when the data model, conceptual data model is loaded for business logic. And then it also has a calendar period, which it found through order date, and it applied that time frame. So I didn't really have to do too much. So out of the box, when you load a simple data model with metrics and dimensions and timeframes, it might be just enough to get you the insights that you need without even having to customize business logic. Asking different questions in here, I can ask a little more sophisticated questions, such as, and of course I'm cutting and pasting, how many orders were aged more than 50 and open by type? Okay, so now this is now showing me days that orders that have been open for over 50 days by type, right? So you can see arcade sticks, there's 33 orders that have been open for more than 50 days. Okay, so we're going to delve into on more of these insights, but you can ask questions with ranges, greater than, less than, filters, like you can say here, order status is open. You can also look at suggestions All right, so now this is going to say total orders by type and age. So this is just a suggested insight based off of what it's learned from my particular questions that I've asked. And it's saying, here's another insight you might be interested in. So now I can see the breakdown, okay? And this breakdown is showing me that arcade sticks, there's 8 that are open for 135 days in this case, right? So we have 8 particular orders that are open for 135 days under the category of arcade sticks. Okay, I have 2 models that are opened under 71 days, right? So this is now giving me additional insight. And if I wanted to explore this further, I can, and we'll do that in a moment. But I also want to show you a couple of other existing capabilities. I could just click, for example, apps, and it shows me the apps that are enabled. Okay, when I get into the app, I'll show you how to turn this on. This is not always turned on by default, so you have to enable the app to be used within chat. So you might not want it to be enabled in chat. I could look at all the measures within the current app. We can see we have discounts, shipping, taxes, total customers, total orders, repeat customer rate, refund. I can look at all the dimensions. And any of these are easily clickable or can be used within natural language questions. And then there's a help. And if you click questions, it shows you the list of questions that I prepared as examples, right? So if somebody just needs to get some quick answers without having to go into an app, and they just want to see what their lead time is for the last 7 days for the unfulfilled orders that haven't been canceled, that question is already there, and I can get those insights immediately. And it could be in the form of natural language generation, or it could be in the form of a chart. So in this case, for the lead time, because we're still looking at this year, the lead time is 0. For this month, in this case, so you can see 9/20 to 9/26, or this week, the lead time is 0. So you can clear your app if you want to by clearing this particular parameter. You can select a new app, or it'll even prompt you to select a new app. So in this case here, if I go in and select total orders by product this year versus last year, if it recognizes that there's 2 apps that have similar, it'll say, well, which of the following app do you want to use to answer this particular question? Okay, so it's smart enough to know that multiple measures might exist in apps, multiple apps. Okay, so now we're looking at type by total orders for this year versus last year. Okay, there's a lot you can do here, and a lot of this can be repetitive through search and exploration. So I'm going to show you other ways of how this works. Okay, so we're going to continue with this. Now we're just going to go into gross sales this month. Okay, gross sales is 9,600 I push the up arrow, say gross sales this year, 27,807. And since I'm using a time period, okay, and also business logic can be tailored or configured to say, if you're using these metric sales, always associate it with a calendar period. So the recommended insight that is going to be preferred in this case might be a time series chart, in this case here. So not only do I have a full time series that shows some of my anomaly spikes here in May, but it also shows me the gross sales, the minimum sale, and the maximum sale. This one doesn't show the maximum sale. The minimum is 2,583. I'm sorry, the maximum, I was correct. The maximum is 2,583 on 5/7 for this year. Some really cool stuff that's out there. Okay, now if I want to mention just the MS Teams integration real quick, you can see I just dragged in my MS Teams interface. Now this is obviously, it's in a staging environment, it's a development environment, so it's not going to be exactly on the same context, but I can put in a new conversation. I type in @Qlik. Now the app has already been installed, and I could ask a question, in this case, such as, what is my repeat customer rate? And then this is going to be integrated now with the tenant platform that I've configured for this app. And it's going to return that result. And here, I already did it prior. You can see here, the repeat customer rate is 17%. And it even gave me a product breakdown. So here's repeat customer rate is 17%. I can click the explore this further button, which I'm not going to do at this time because it's just going to open it up into another one of my environments, which we can do later. Or you can continue the conversation with someone else. So I'm not going to spend too much time on MS Teams integration because everything I just showed you And the Inside Advisor chat is at the same, but now just through MS Teams. Okay, so we got our insights back here. So now what I'm going to do is just click Explore this further. Okay, and when I click Explore this further, it basically brings me directly into that app in the tenant and directly to the context and displays that result for me inside the Insight Advisor user interface. And now you can see gross sales this year. Now, when it's brought into the Insight Advisor interface, it now also provides me with suggested results. So here's our chart. We also got a KPI, right? And we also have our natural language insights that are also found here. Now, at any time, if you have rights, you can add this to your sheet. So I can say add it to an existing sheet or just create a new sheet. And it creates something called My New Sheet. I'm just going to click it just to show you what it does. It brings you to the sheet. And I could start building out my dashboard. Okay, so let me give you just a quick example of when using Insight Advisor from the perspective of analyzing data. So in other words, yes, I asked a question, I got back a chart, I added it to a sheet, but you could also be exploring data and go into Insight Advisor. So maybe I want to look at 2023 sales that have not been canceled and orders that are still unfulfilled. So I just added some context and some selections here, okay? But I don't see any metrics here for my repeat customer rate. So I can just go into Insight Advisor and I could start exploring the additional fields that are available with the context of those selections, or even ask additional questions with those selections here, okay? Such as how many orders by order status or total orders. I can click on the example questions that are available here. Sales for these particular top orders for the top 3 countries. Okay, so now this is going to show me those sales, gross sales by country for the year 2023, the orders that are not canceled, the orders that are still open or unfulfilled, and I have my insights here. And the reason I'm showing you this is because I don't want people to think that Insight Advisor is used to create content. It can be used to create content, but it also can be used in conjunction to get additional answers to questions. Okay, and that's a key point to remember here, because you're using it to supplement your analysis for maybe things that were not surfaced within a dashboard that was designed for you. Okay, so keep that in mind as well. So I can clear the context here, I can clear here, and we can start over. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, let me just refresh my environment, is I'm going to show you this app through the settings, because I promised I would show you how to enable. You can see Insight Advisor in Hub. That probably should say Ask Insight Advisor, but I guess that's how they labeled it. But that is what enables the Insight Advisor chat, this little switch here. And then Insight Advisor in this app as well is also what enables Insight Advisor to be used. So you can turn it off. So not every app has to have this on if you don't want to. So keep that in mind. That is in with this heading right here. And you can see the switches there. Okay, other things that I'm going to talk about, right? The logical model, I'm going to jump into this and all of this stuff after, okay? But they're all in this prepare menu across the top. I know my screen is probably a little small. Hopefully you could still have some clarity. I'm just checking any messages. Okay, good. These questions, I will answer these questions, when I get to the Q&A part of this. Okay, so when you are in an app, you'll see the Insight Advisor button across the top. That's what brings you into here. And then you have multiple options, right? You have the ability to select fields, ask a question, which is very similar to using the Insight Advisor chat. But at the same time, it also kind of shows you how the question is formulated. It shows you the relevant context, which is actually pretty cool. So I'll show you some of that. Analysis types, all that type of stuff I'm going to go through now, right? So in this case here, if I just wanted to click and explore fields, right? So we're going to look at, let's say, gross sales by platform. I have my fields that are loaded from my data model, like the default fields, and then I have my derived fields, new fields that I created to be used, right? So I can not only use fields that are loaded by the default data model, but fields, measures, and dimensions that are calculated, that are derived from the real information that's in the data. So here I'm just selecting gross sales, and then I'm going to choose platform. Okay, so here we get a ranking chart. We see what our gross sales is. We have values table. If I click on additional information, for example, here, click on the chart, you can see the favorable trend is up or down. So you can kind of customize the way you want the trend or the sorting of this particular chart. Okay, keep in mind, this is not developing a chart from scratch. So if there's any new people on this webinar, I'm not going through edit mode and designing a chart and all that other stuff. This is stuff, additional parameters that are available when using Inside Advisor. Okay, it kind of shows you the individual elements. To cover some of that, in case somebody does ask, I'm going to add it to my new sheet. And I'm going to shut down Inside Advisor. I'm going to navigate to my new sheet, and you're going to see that chart added. I'm going to click on Edit Sheet. I'm going to click on this chart. And now here are all my properties to fully customize this chart the way I want. Okay, but again, this is not a session on chart creation this is a session on using Inside Advisor, but I know there's probably some people in here that might not be familiar with the entire platform. So I do want to show you, you have full customized capability to develop and change the visualizations to the way you want. Okay, so coming back to Inside Advisor, I was talking about selecting from the field list that's available here. If we wanted to ask a question, here's your different language support. For accessibility purposes, you have a microphone that'll interact with your microphone. And here I can show all my example questions. So here's one that's orders where age more than 120 and fulfillment status is unfulfilled and not canceled by order number. And this is a good example that returns a table and a breakdown that shows me the actual order numbers and those number of orders that answer my question. So again, not all insights that return that are suggested might be exactly meaningful, except some of them that return will give you the answers you're looking for. So for example, I did this purposely because I wanted to force a table to show me the 22 orders that are over 120 days that still need to be fulfilled. And you can see the context and filters are applied here. So this is something I definitely want to add to my sheet. Okay, so additional questions, asking those questions. I'm not typing things in just because, for the sake of time. You can see through that list that is available. That's your search history. That's available here. You can clear the question, and then you have show less, show all. Sales for top 3 countries. There's this little information icon. This is to see how the insights are generated. Okay, so it shows you the measures that are in the conceptual model, and then that it's recognized top 3 as a way of ranking and limiting the result. And then it used the master dimension country when the word countries was used, because it found it in the vocabulary, and that's something you can customize and define as well. Okay, you can see the top countries in the United States with the gross sales equal to 82,616. Okay, so let's go into analysis types. So the third way you could invoke Inside Advisor is analysis types. Now, I've come to actually love analysis types because this is a simple way of being able to guide you to simple answers. So here I'm just looking at gross sales. Add it to my sheet. Done, if I wanted to do it that way. If I wanted to go up here and I wanted to add additional context and I don't know what filters, I'm just going to type arcade and our global smart search. And this is incorporating the power of the engine in conjunction with the Inside Advisor AI sophisticated algorithms. So now I'm going to use this and it's going to make recommendations. And you can see we have a category here called arcade stick. So I select that, and now my answer is reflective to arcade stick. So not only can you put filters in your questions, but you can also apply them during your initial analysis through the use of our global smart search. So I don't know how many of you are aware of smart search, a very powerful capability, indexes all of the dimensions and the data values and makes them available for easier searching. So if I just type in 2023, you can see the property close date, property entered date, but we also have the year, right? It helps guide you along this path. Okay, so keep that in mind as well. Now we're going to go through a little bit more advanced analysis. I'm just going to show you a quick ranking. This is going to use a measure and a dimension. We're going to look at total orders by platform. Okay, additional properties, add to sheet, as I'd mentioned, right? So here it's guiding you. Breakdown geospatial. We're going to use country and total orders. Now we have a map. So by now you should be getting the gist of how this is working. Okay, with the preparation that I've done prior was pretty much just creating master measures or dimensions to support the questions that I wanted to answer, to get the answers that I needed for this particular use case within sales and order analysis. Now, one little advanced capability I want to show you is smart sheets. So smart sheets are a combination of visualizations. In this case, they're supporting period changes. So for example, if I go to period changes detail, and I wanted to create a simple dashboard that shows me performance tracking of targets and goals for my orders, I can select my measure. I'm going to select my category. In this case, I'm looking at the product type, and I have a suggested time period, and I want to look at year, and you can see there's year, month, quarter. Okay, this is all auto-generated based off of what it's learned from the data. And then I can click this particular insight that I'm about to open, and I can set my particular ranges here. So for example, there's what's called a met target, and there's an almost met target, and then there's the met target, almost, and missed target. Oh, in this case, it's got to be 105. I think we did from here. I want to use 100. Hold on, let me change this. I think I wanted to make this 50 and 100. I forgot exactly. But you can change basically your met targets, your missed targets, etc., by using these parameter limits here. And then the analysis period, which is part of the business logic, we're going to look at years 2022, and period 2 is going to be 2023. And I click on Open Analysis, and it automatically creates a dashboard that helps you keep track with period changes of those particular limits. So here, for example, special orders, there were 2 special orders in period 1. We had 13 special orders in period 2. Based off of my limits, we've met the target. 641% target has been met. Now, obviously, you can change your parameters up here as well when you're analyzing to meet your specific targets. But basically, you have a way of keeping track and seeing where your particular metrics lie from one year to the other, right? Good for budget and forecasting capabilities, pretty much any way that you want to measure your particular goals. And this is done automatically through an Insight Advisor analysis type. Okay, and if you wanted to add this to your sheet, you can add it as part of your sheet. And then when you go to your main app analysis, you can see that is now part of your sheet. And if you wanted to edit this, and then now you have full edit capabilities to edit those insights. Okay, so that's Insight Advisor analysis types. And I'm looking at the time, we're pretty good right now. 2 other things we're going to talk about real quick is we also have the expression generator and NL object insights. Okay, so you can see here, if I go to charts, there is an object called NL insights. I could actually add a chart, and this is a new feature that's coming soon. I could actually add a chart where, for example, it'll recognize the chart on the canvas, and it'll pull in and create natural language insights. So in this case, we were looking at gross sales and the mutual dependency between fulfillment status, etc. This could be completely changed. You go to presentation, add analysis type, verbosity, brief or full, you can change those settings, or you can create a brand new NL insight from scratch just by simply adding a measure. In this case here, we'll just say gross sales. And now gross sales is $96,000. $99 item and gross sales are not associated. So this is nice. It automatically shows you that there's like a data quality issue here, that there's an item that is not associated with any particular zip code. Breakdown of geospatial, top gross sales in the United States, etc. Trend over time. So additional insights in the form of natural language based off of measures and dimensions. So here I'll just choose country, for example. Okay, so now it's going to show you breakdown specifically, and if you wanted to change the analysis type, you can choose from the list that's available or remove and just use the ones that you want. Okay, so that's natural language generation insights based off of chart object or your own measures and selections, all still using the same business logic capability. Insight Advisor conceptual model. Okay, and then finally, I want to show you the expression generator for here before we go into the build out. So if I wanted to go into a data element here, and I'm going to go to my measure for gross sales. And let's say I wanted to generate an expression that looks like this. I can go into my expression generator and I'm typing in quantity sold where age more than 120 and fulfillment status is unfulfilled and not canceled. And I press enter and it says expression summary. And it provides me with the expression preview. And I make sure the cursor is where I want it in the expression and click the insert button and it inserts the expression. Okay, so with this is something you'll probably see on the next session in more detail. This is actually utilizing what's called set analysis or set expressions. So we have, classifications and identifiers here that are actually limiting the data to a subset of this: cancellation status not canceled, age greater than 120. What I did in this case here, they also added a parameter. You can see this $ parentheses V age. So I customized this so I can actually use a slider and say, well, I want to see things that are greater than 199 days, things that are greater than 63 days, 35 days, 18 days. Okay, so that's just little techniques utilizing parameterization within the expressions. Okay, but to close up before we drive into the build, we also have the key drivers piece that I want to show you as well. And that's going to be just a quick example through a staging environment. So here I'm analyzing particular data. It could be within the sheets. I can right click on a particular metric, and then there's a menu, key driver analysis. Some information here, I'm not going to go into it too much, but this is what we're trying to basically say: what is driving my repeat customers? What metric, or I'm sorry, what dimension or feature is responsible for the majority of my sales or influencing the sales? So you can automatically choose features based off the influence range, or you can manually choose them. In this case, I'm just going to narrow it down to keep it simple. We're going to look at territory. We're going to look at product name. And we're going to look at campaign and click Start Analysis. Okay, the analysis is ready to view. I click on View. And what this actually does is works with our predictive analytics engine and basically returns the relative importance of the features that it analyzed. And you can see the top key drivers here: product name followed by territory followed by campaign. And it's showing me here that arcade sticks and control pads are largely responsible for driving my repeat customers, 59.5% total influence on repeat customers. Okay, so for me, if I'm selling this type of stuff, that basically means that, putting more of an emphasis on, improving arcade sticks, control pads, whether it's marketing campaigns or feature improvement or additional products to the product line. Okay, this is still in progress. This is going to be made available probably late October, but look out for this particular feature as well, which is going to help you understand what's the drive of the influence behind your measures. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to do a build out. You're going to see this build out from scratch And what I did is have a bare app here that we're going to go into. And what we're going to do for this is we're going to do a split screen. So we're going to take this app, put it here. I'm going to take another one and put it here. And I'm just going to paste this app here. And the reason I'm doing the split screen is so you're going to see what's happened under the covers. What happens? So one screen on the left is actually showing me the area where I'm going to load the data. And the area on the right is going to show you the data model that's being loaded. And then we're going to show you the conceptual model. So here I'm going to go to Files and Other Sources. And I'm going to mix some data through my data files, which I have already uploaded, I believe, here. This needs to have category ID in it. If it doesn't, this is not the right one. Let's see. Yes, it does. Okay, so very simple. So what I did is I used a very simple data model. So you can see we have cost, we have country, we have an order ID, product name, sales, an order status. So we have some light dimensions, time period, and some metrics, right? So not to over confuse you. Now, keep in mind the name of the sheet. This is coming from an Excel spreadsheet. It's 2020, 2023. So when it creates these conceptual groupings, it kind of uses the sheet names and field names to do so. So we're going to click Next, and it's going to add that data to the model. Now, I also want to add additional information, right, to this model. So I'm going to add some new data. So I can go back to the data manager, and we're just going to add some data that I have already in the data catalog. It's my categories. And we're just going to select this particular data set from categories. And click Next and load it into the app. Okay, and then we can see there's a recommendation here, okay, based off of the field name category ID. So it's going to link these two particular tables here. Okay, and now we're just going to load the data. Now, when the data is loaded, you're going to see the logical model come alive. Okay, so now the data is loaded, and I'm going to just navigate to the sheet, and I'm going to explore the data with Insight Advisor. Okay, and I'm going to click Continue on the right. That's going to show you the logical model. And this might answer some questions that have come in regards to hiding fields and visibility and so forth. But right now you have insight into what you saw in the beginning of the presentation, as well as the business logic conceptual layer. Okay, so this screen here is kind of like a dashboard. It's showing you there's 8 visible, 2 hidden, 0 excluded, 4 groups in business logic, packages, hierarchies, behaviors. We're going to move through this so you can just kind of get an idea. So for example, if I go into fields and groups, and I can see that category ID at this point, it's going to be hidden, right? So right now, if I make it visible and we refresh this, by default, before it takes on those settings, and it's a default view. So you can see that it's visible. But now I'm going to make category ID hidden. And then I'm just going to swap back. And you can see now category ID on the left is gone. Okay. So the first time you get into that, there's kind of like a default setting, and then you got to start enabling these settings within business logic. Okay, so you can control visibility of the fields simply by changing the visibility flag. Now, you're also going to see other flags that are available within business logic, such as classification. Is it a dimension? Is it a measure? Is it Boolean? Is it geographical? Longitude measure? I'm not sure exactly how all of these are interpreted. I know, like, for example, a country, it'll automatically create like a geographical chart. If it's a dimension, it'll create breakdowns. If you set it up as a measure, for example, it'll perform calculations. So you can, click any of these information icons to go to the help, but you have ways of setting up classifications. Data lookups, if you start typing in a value, for example, category name is yes. So if I start typing in, let's say, arcade sticks, in this case, what is it, arcade sticks or control? Oh, no, I'm thinking I'm in the wrong data set. I'm sorry. Baby wear. So I started typing in baby, and you can see the value, baby wear, baby dark lounge suit, la baby dress. That's because category, and you can see category name, has data lookup turned on. Okay, so that's another little setting with under fields and groups. So controlling visibility, controlling if you want values to be populated when they're searched. So if I wanted to, look for sales for baby wear, you can see it's automatically prompting me that I can select baby wear. So it helps guide the user into selection when you have the data lookup put in. Okay. Now you'll notice there's something called fields and groups, and that's what we're in now. You might want to organize metrics and measures together, and you might also see, oh, wait a minute, I don't have margin. Where do I put in my my margin value, for example? Well, I've got to calculate it. So now what do I do? Right. So what we do is you simply go out of Inside Advisor and edit your sheet, go into your master items, create a new measure, call it margin, put in the calculation for margin, sum of sales minus cost, sum of sales. Just making sure your fields, I was cutting and pasting from Notepad, so just to make sure my field names are correct. Click apply. My formatting is going to be number, and we'll say percentage. Click create. Now, while we're in here, we're also going to do another defined measure for order count, in this case here, because we want to be able to create other measures that give us the count of orders. So I create a new measure here. We call this total orders, expression, count distinct order ID, click apply, click create. Now notice we created two new measures. Well, in business logic, I'm just going to refresh it. Those master measures are now going to be picked up. And you can see there's a section here. Now it used the sheet name, so we can edit this group name, and I'm just going to call it metrics. And notice that now I could add margin and total orders to my metrics. So now I have them as part of my measures. So now when I'm back in Inside Advisor, I can say, what are my total orders? And you can see it automatically recognizes it and pops up. And we have 836 total orders. So hopefully you're seeing now the incorporation of fields and groups. And then there's other pieces. You could automatically default favorable trend. You can set an overall aggregation, for example, for margin. We don't want to sum margin, so we can choose overall aggregation for master items as average. So now when we go in and I just type in margin, for example, you don't always have to type in what is my, we call it natural language search, but it really picks out the keywords. And now you can see margin is displayed 20%. And if we select this here, you can see the measure is margin. Okay, and it's using the master measure of margin. Now, there's also the ability to select default period time grains and stuff like that. But I'm, again, not fully educating you, but just giving you some of the examples. Now, there's also something called packages. Okay, packages allow you to closely relate data. So if I wanted all of my metrics to be related towards time, I can select a time grouping. Okay, so let me clarify one thing for you. When you load your default model, it's going to give like names to groups that might not make sense to you. Like order date is under 2023 order date because that's what it used when it inferred the information and created. Now you could change that and change the name of the group. And I'm just going to call this group, I can call it time, I can call it calendar. You can set up multiple calendars if you wanted to. In this case, I'm just going to call it times to make things easier. And then when I go to a package, I'm going to create a package, just call it P1. And I want to use my time group along with my metrics. What this means is that anytime I ask for a metric, sales, total orders, it's now going to associate and recommend mostly time-related visualizations. So if I type in total orders, you can see on the bottom, we get charts that are time series charts. If I delete the package where we associated time in my metrics, and I go back and I execute total orders, you can see now my additional results are now showing me categorizations. Okay, so you can closely have Inside Advisor return results that are more meaningful to you by setting up packages which closely associate dimensions with the measures that you want to retrieve in those results. So that's what packages do. Hierarchies basically just set up a kind of like a drill down relationship between, for example, product category or category or country, city, state, basically for breakdown charts. Behaviors allow you to control for your measures, for example, a required selection, preferred relationship, deny relationship, or default calendar period. Okay, so in this case, you can say select a group. I want to look at time for period 1, year, month, year, quarter, year, last. So you have the ability to define the different time periods. Or you can say a required selection for your sales is make sure that category name is just baby wear. Okay, so now if I type in total orders, you can see it automatically applied the filter of baby wear. Okay, so you have more control on what automatic results are returned by setting up behaviors. And again, behaviors, you can set up multiple behaviors for those particular measure groups, requiring selections, preferring relationships. For example, if you had multiple dates, you might not want to associate your sales orders with cancellation dates, maybe order dates. So your preferred relationship is sales with your order date, etc. You'll also see that we have what's called vocabulary. And vocabulary here allows you to create terms. So for example, here, let's just let's go to ChatGPT. And let's ask ChatGPT to create a comma-separated string of 5 synonyms for the word category and do not encapsulate the reply in quotes. So it returned classification, group, class, division, and kind. So I'm just getting that as a way to paste new synonyms in for my category name. And I click create. Now, if I say total orders by class, you can see it recognizes class as category name. Okay, so you can create a list of terms that might be common for different dimension names that are used within your questions. That's under vocabulary, under synonyms. And then there's also example questions, which I didn't show you in the other example that I had. Basically, you just could populate a list of questions that can be asked of the data. So I can say total orders by class. And what it'll actually do is we'll run a preview. And then I click add. And then when the person comes in, they'll get a list of example questions that will populate in the list here. Probably got to refresh. Okay, we're almost out of time, so I'm just going to finish up with one other thing and then address any of those questions. But here you can see here's an example question, total orders by class. And then finally, there's also the ability to create what's called custom analysis. So let's say in this case here, I want to just create something called, my order status. Wait, I have an order status. Let's call it my daily report. So I create a term called my daily report. I want it to be a breakdown. I want this to show me a breakdown of my category name dimension for my total orders. By my breakdown by category and country. And I want to constrain this just to the United States. And I want to force this to be a bar chart grouped. I click create. So now questions such as my daily report will come back with the custom analysis that I designed. And that's an example of custom analysis. You guys almost got in the time that we spent together, think of this as a crash course of almost everything that you can do within Inside Advisor and Business Logic. And as I mentioned, there's full resources that cover this in greater detail. So now what we're going to do, I can see we still have pretty high retention, and there's a number of questions. So I'm just going to go through the questions through the list.